and welcome to Miss Rajni. It's really wonderful to have you in a bright day of today because we couldn't say it's a morning or evening. In pandemic, we are all connected to various time zones. Well, to give a brief introduction of Miss Rajni Singh, she is a special educator as well as a founder of an organization called Sashakt. So apart from being a special educator, her journey has started, being a special mom, wherein her child was diagnosed on the spectrum when he was about 2 years and 10 months. And since then, she has moved from stage to stage as a teacher, then going to be a teacher trainer, then going to various schools for teaching the teachers how to plan out curriculums, etc., how to teach kind of. And it doesn't just end over here, the achievements what Miss Rajni has brought to the community is really awesome because the way she is connected through means of social media with the various parents as well as the professionals across the country and across the world. In fact, I was just looking at her YouTube channel, wherein the bits and pieces and the tips that she has been giving and empowering the parents, that's the best part of it. And not only that, the last one, what I was just watching was when she was even empowering the dads. Because myself being a special dad, I have two kids on the spectrum, so it's very enlightening, to connect from a parent to a parent and to get a insight, when a parent becomes a professional, it gives a very, very different sort of an insight because when we approach a professional, okay, then the parent's point of view becomes very different. But then when a parent to parent connects, then the journeys are almost the same on both the sides. So you understand me, I understand you as for what all may be going on in our houses, in our daily lives, in our kids. So the connection becomes much better. So having said that, it's wonderful that you have come up with more than 150 videos on your YouTube channel. You have got, say, about 4,000 followers, that just follow your videos and try to empower themselves. And I would say like it has been really enlightening in this pandemic period, wherein we could all connect to each other, which would not have been really possible. We would be just watching your videos online only, but here you are, to share your insight with the various parents and the professionals. So wouldn't take much of your time and welcoming you to the summit. We'd like to have your insight, Ms. Rajni, based on the topic for today would be the challenges faced by parents in this pandemic period. So I'm quite, enlightened to listen to you because me myself having two kids on the spectrum. So every day kind of like, in the life of a special parent is different than any other day. It's like no one medicine fits all days. Every day is different. So over to you, Ms. Rajni. We'd like to have your insight and all this, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much. First of all, Mr. Rodriguez. First of all, I would like to say that this is a huge initiative by SNIC, and I congratulate everybody on the team and Harshali because it's a great step towards bringing this empowerment to parents on one platform through various means, having different experts here to guide the parents, because actually what I've figured out in my 15 years of work is that this, an empowered family is the game changer, is absolutely the game changer. Because for as long as, we keep running outwards for therapeutic intervention, which is not wrong, which is necessary, If a kid is not interacting with other professionals, then he's only one style of learning teaching, and that's not liberating for a child. It's so they will get stuck. So it is absolutely mandatory that they are exposed to different styles of learning teaching. But when I as a parent approach a therapist from a point of view where I don't know what to do, then it's like, to me, that therapist is a supplement. I can't do without it. And God forbid, for anything like Corona or anything where that supply of reinforcement gets cut for any good reason, then what? The big question. So my whole endeavor has been for n number of years to bring it to the understanding of parents that get into the driver's seat. Okay, treat me like a compliment, not like a supplement. So treat me like, okay, that if my therapist is not there still, I will be able to handle, because I know what to do with my kid on a broader perspective. And always, two brains are always better than one. I might come up with some ideas which are very good, but then you as a parent might come up with ideas which are phenomenal, which are just so amazing. And it's like one candle light the other, and so many candles are lit. So it so happens that some of my students call me and say, you know what, I was thinking and I was training my kid like this and this really worked. And then I say, hey, can I borrow your idea and give it to another parent? Because it makes a whole world of difference. And also what I've seen is parents who are partnering a therapist in the process, their kids definitely go a very long way, because the therapist is also able to delegate a little bit to the parent, and the comfort at home, the ability. Just taking a small example before I start with the presentation. A kid will come to a therapist, and the therapist will do a super good job and say, okay, learn sorting, okay, learn seriation. So you take the big one, you put the small one inside, and they'll teach everything. Now, if this is an empowered parent and knows that, this is something I need to be doing at home also to generalize, then the universe of the kid, the home, where the kid is most comfortable. And if the parent simply says as an ADL goal, here are the washed utensils, kindly set them properly in the cupboard, I will guide you. So it's an ADL goal and a seriation goal or a sorting goal. And the kid is generalizing it beyond the table. So basically, we need to be thinking like a therapist. Being a parent and a therapist, I'm playing both sides of the fence. So I know the kind of profound impact it has on a kid when the therapist and the parent are, like almost at par. So on that note, I'll very quickly start my presentation, because I have this habit of getting carried away, like Seema said, rocket. So before I get any further carried away, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Challenges faced by special needs parents. So, technology can sometimes be very okay. Seems like technology has decided to play hide and seek with me. Some of my slides are missing. All right, never mind. So here goes the rocket. So let's keep the parent in between, okay? And the challenges. First is the societal challenge of rejection associated with the parent. That, okay, it's so heartbreaking as a mother to go to the, to the park and see other children just rejecting my kid. So what will happen is that as a parent, I don't want that feeling that my child was rejected because of his or her or their way of being. So what I will do is next time I will say, no, let's not do it. So what happens in that case is that societal desensitization and their lack of awareness and understanding results in a situation where the kid is kind of rejected, and so the parent takes a back step. Same so in school. So the result of all of that is we have to go for a wedding, the whole family is going, one person will stay back, maybe the mother with the kid. The more we provide a child the opportunity to socialize and teach within that okay, you're going to play with this kid, you can't be pushing that kid, no, that's not what we do. Get friends with other children, say, okay, auntie will also play, auntie will hold his hand, let's do it. Create that magic with children. They love to see auntie coming. Say, auntie, come. Slowly, auntie begins to fade and get the kid there. Also at the same time teaching. But for all of that, again, lack of parent empowerment will result in the fact that the mother will not know or the family will not know. And they will say, no, don't take him to the park. Last time he pushed or she pushed somebody and then, it was a scene, we don't want it. And the kid loses a very vital platform of learning by staying inside. Not to talk about what it does to the self-esteem of the family and the child. One thing leads, it's like a dominoes effect. So one thing leads to another. So no park, no shadi, no this, no that, seclusion. I've come across parents who've said 20 years and we have not gone for one movie. How sad is that? Because they thought and they conveniently be not possible for their kid to go for that movie and sit through without troubling others. It could have been done only if the family knew how to. So societal rejection, school rejection, that is another. School rejection as in there are certain schools that will say, we don't know how to work with your kid. Because there's a government norm that says that, no, you can't say no to a kid. They'll say, okay, fine, you get the kid, but then we don't know what to do with it. Now, obviously, the parent cannot take the child. Not every school, thankfully, they're very good schools, they're very supportive schools. But what I've seen is that most of, the sensitization drives, the most of the work, the big cities, the metros, where people have awareness. I've worked with children as remote as, the interiors of Bihar through online mode. Of course, Corona happened now. The online mode since 2017, because I realized early on the importance of early, of parent empowerment. So I've been working with the kid through the mother. And what I've seen is that there is a clear dearth of good quality professionals. Now that's another challenge. I'd made some really fancy slides with things popping up which didn't show up. We said, okay, so I make it as engaging by doing the popping up. All right. So it's societal rejection is one. Schools not being able to provide the right kind of support base is another. Family awareness of the condition is a huge challenge. Indian system is such, and I deal with it like 5 queries a day. My family says, you're supposed to do it. But you're the mother. And the husband would say, I don't know how to do this. You're the mother, you do it. She never attended any extensive 2-year program on how to bring up a child with special needs. First of all, they don't have the acceptance. The most dangerous words that I'm really scared of, and that is, bada hoke apne aap theek ho jayega. Translated, as he grows up, he shall be fine. Is the most dangerous word sentence God ever created. God didn't create that sentence, we created, but it's very, very, simply saying, oh, don't worry, he'll be okay. He'll be fine. There's nothing wrong, especially for children who are, neither here nor there. They're on the spectrum, but not showing very profound difficulty. Family to accept. No, they're at highest risk. They are struggling with academics because mental image formation isn't happening. Experiential connect isn't happening. Families are not providing that kind of, back home that, okay, what does this mean? And the school is going at its pace. The textbook is going at its pace. Kid understood nothing. And then out of frustration, the behaviors begin to come in. There are times when a kid will simply throw a behavior because he just wants to convey to the family that I am irritated. I don't want to do it. And well, the family doesn't understand. They don't understand because awareness is not there. And all they had to do was just break it down, make it easier, make it more tangible, get the kid to be able to understand. And if that was done, the kid would have taken. And then what happens? The routine way, the classic way, nahi sun raha hai, idhar dekh raha hai, udhar dekh raha hai. Give one back. The kid will listen. That doesn't work at all. That doesn't work at all. That's when, when I'm talking to mothers, like I do a lot of parent empowerment programs. And now, of course, I'm doing online training programs. Initially, I was traveling all over the country. And mothers say, don't know what to do. I tried 20 times, he didn't learn. I got so irritated, I gave him a whack. Yeah, but that didn't help. So all of this spread over years results in the parents forming a mental picture of the child that, well, others can do, he will not be able to. Unfortunately, all of that happened because parents did not have the empowerment. So still, that parent thing I'm keeping right in the middle. The parent. Then there is monetary challenges. Challenges with, therapeutic interventions are very expensive. I once had a student from Northeast, a remote village in somewhere ahead of Agartala. And this person said, I traveled 2 hours for one therapy session of 45 minutes. 2 hours one side. So there is extreme dearth of good quality professionals. We are a very, very big nation. India is a very big nation. So all of this put together brings us to the fact that an empowered mother results in an empowered family. That results in an empowered society. Because when I am not ashamed of my kid and I stand by my kid, the children who were thinking of bullying the kid, okay, it's all, they understand, okay. So there have been times when even for my own kid, children have come, auntie, isne na mera ye tod diya, isne ye kar diya. So the point the focus at that point is to help them understand and to help my kid understand playing does not mean breaking his book. You couldn't have done that. No, that's not allowed. And then step into action, get to play with kids, get them to be friends, replace what's broken so that they also get friends with the kid, find out a buddy, someone in every class where whenever I've taught and in schools, there are impacts. There are some children who are, if a kid is running and he falls and everybody's in a race, there will be 4 or 5 children in a class by law of, or maybe 1 or 2 also, but they'll definitely be who'll stop, who'll look back, who'll go and help the kid. So to identify children, the teachers have to get into that, to identify children who can be buddies and who can be a support base. The whole idea is about building up the kid, building the kid's self-esteem by giving adequate doses of "tum kar sakte ho," you can do this. It's easy. Coupled with an awareness and acceptance that not everything every kid can do. It's not about getting into an agenda. So what, my kid has autism, my kid will become a doctor. No, it's not. It's not about, getting into a, who am I fighting with? That's the other extreme that I dealt with people. The entire class is doing this syllabus. My kid, why will you make the story smaller? No, my kid will do this. But he is not able to understand as to have that awareness, and that is where empowerment comes in. Empowerment doesn't only mean helping the kid to take the next step. It also means taking one step back to understand that this is how far he or she can go, and then looking at alternate ways. Because not being able to do physics for Rajni and failing in grade 12 does not mean, like her teacher told her father, iska bhavishya andhakar mein, like her future is dark. And by no stretch of imagination, by God's grace, my future is dark. But then, if you again subject me to physics, my future will get dark. But somebody had to understand I wasn't meant for that. So, not every kid with autism will become a doctor, will become an engineer, but at the same time, not every kid with autism will be like a vegetable that you have to serve till your dying day and keep thinking what happens to this kid. Let us focus on getting our child to be the best version of what they can be. And to be able to understand what good they can do. It could be jewelry making, it could be data entry, it could be becoming a doctor, it could be becoming a lawyer. We have enough examples. We even have an IAS officer who's autistic. The internet was full of stories of this gentleman who cracked the IAS exams. But at the same time, we also have to understand, just because my kid has autism, I'm on an agenda. I will make sure he also goes and cracks the IAS exam. Won't work like that. Help the kid be the best version of who they can be. So if he can be or she can be an excellent, yeah, even that's a good idea. Or if they can do nothing, not clear the exams, no 10th standard, even then, if they can manage themselves. COVID has taught us a very, very important lesson that nothing is permanent. We as parents are not permanent. And it's a very valid question, what happens to my kid after I'm not there? But then if my kid doesn't know from where to pick up a katori, a bowl, and fix a small snack for himself or herself, then I have not done justice. So ADLs need to be in place. And for all of that, the parent empowerment is a must. The family empowerment is a must. Side by side, whatever it is that the kid can do, let us focus on giving the child that kind of support base so that the child can achieve, the best of what they can achieve. So also another challenge, a major challenge that, and I'm talking like non-corona times. So another major, like the regular times, I'll come to the challenge of corona, like Seema has very beautifully covered it already. But just a little bit on that, and the non-corona times, lack of government support. I have international students and, some students in Europe. So they tell me the Indian, people the native Indians have settled there. And then they tell me, oh, it is all government aided. And, I had this mother student whose kid was 18 months. And she said that they came in yesterday for an assessment and then we have to now start the process, and all government funded. So we don't have that kind of support yet in India. That is another challenge that parents face. Early detection, early intervention is the key. When a kid loses precious time and the parents, then it becomes a whole lot difficult. So it's very important that as many people as we can, we need to bring the awareness that, don't tip the balance, don't go off the balance, don't be in a fight. My kid doesn't have a problem. My kid will do everything anybody else does. Don't shatter the child. And at the same time, oh my God, this one can't do anything. I'm even going to have to wash his or her bum and give them brush their teeth and food. No, the biggest challenge, as I would say, is to strike the balance and understand these are my kids, strengths. These are my kids' weaknesses. I work here to build this up and I work here to fill the lack. And along with that, you know, that faith in God Almighty, that he'll be taken care of. One very important thing, and I deal with it like daily, is such high stress levels that, you know, even if you're empowered or you know a certain techniques or stuff, you're not able to do it with the kid, because you know what will happen tomorrow? There is no support. Government will not support. Who will give him job? Who will do what? Who will get married? So I always suggest mothers, and I do a few meditation programs also with parents, that, you know, take it easy. No one is perfect. The one who got a gold medal in their MBA also had to struggle for a job. And the one who was failing their exams repeatedly went on to become a Thomas Edison. So nobody has seen tomorrow. Let us fret over tomorrow, because today is precious. We need to teach. So every parent on an empowerment platform requires that their kids should be doing at least a few things on language development, because that's very, very important. Even if they have speech, they don't have language. The ability to put one word behind the other to be able to communicate is a big tool that we have to give to the kid. Because when that ability is missing, even if they are reading, writing, we will make them rote learn cat, mat, sat, pat, but then what next? They will rote learn complex answers, but if they're not able to tell, I went down and so hit me or pushed me, then we have missed the bus. At least they should be able to put one word behind the other to be able to make sense and tell. Now, most of, again, because of lack of awareness, most of the people think that's not possible. They don't know how to do it. Yeah, but they can be taught. They can be taught. It's not something which can't be done. It can definitely be developed. So you go step by step, slow, and like Mr. Rodriguez just mentioned, that my YouTube channel, so I have put, there are about 10 or 12 videos on language development from daily life activities. Like you're going for a walk, you know, you're showing a board and saying, yeah, why is this board saying taste that you will remember? What are they trying to tell? You know, again, if my kid can answer a question like that, I start from there. Otherwise, I start at a much lower level and say, tell me which is the phone number, or what is the phone number written, can you read? So getting the kid to focus and concentrate and say how many phone numbers are written on the board. So it's just a board, you're walking. You can do language development anywhere. So if you know you land up dropping a cup from your hand and it's all messy, please don't run to clean it first. You call the kid and you say, see what mama did. Ask me, mama, why you did this? So you get the kid to understand how. So if a kid is not at a 5-word level, you start with 2 words. Mama, what? Teach the kid, say like this. Now when at 18, my son comes back and back answers and tells me like this. And then I say, you asked for it. You created it. But then it's a good feeling because he's able to stand up for himself. Again, it may not happen for every kid that they can do debates and stuff. And it is okay. We will try that as far as it can be done, let's do it. So another challenge is, oh, there's a question for later, I take it. Another challenge is that because the family doesn't understand, a family doesn't understand that a kid can even take, you know, maybe a month to say ab, whereas their other child is looking at the book and saying C-A-T, cat, T-H-E-R-E there, twice you taught and the third time the kid can do. So this one taking 2 months only to say at, not even cat. To get that thing in place is required 1 month or 2 months. The parents, the only person who will understand is the primary caregiver. And so, like I was listening to Seema and she said delegation of responsibilities, extremely important. Because if the entire house is doing something or the other with the kid, they know the struggles of the child. And that's when the empowerment comes up. That's when the expectation load reduces. Oh, you didn't make 2 subsies today? No. I was busy because I had to teach this concept. And so I need to follow a certain frequency, intensity, duration principle, just like you would give medicine. So you wouldn't say, I had to cook, so I forgot your medicine. You wouldn't take that, right? So similarly, I had to cook or I had to dust. And so today I let go of his, drill. Doesn't work. So for families to understand this, the delegation of work is important. That's a challenge. That's where the lady has to first herself get empowered and then tell people, listen, help me. This is your job. You do it. Put a timetable, get people to follow it. In a nutshell, stand up for yourself in your voice so that people begin to listen to you. And for that, the core of the things is acceptance. For as long as I don't accept what God has given me on my plate, the chances are rare that I will be able to, because I will have some sort of expectation. They're very similar words, acceptance and expectation. But expectation will stay there. ये तो अपने आप ही आना चाहिए था, ये तो कर लेना चाहिए था. He should have been able to do it. She should have been able to. This is very simple. Where is that coming from? Expectation. Why expectation? Because complete acceptance has not happened. Oh, he didn't understand. He didn't understand. So, what were you supposed to do? Go ahead and teach rather than get angry. Why you didn't do this? No. It's like sharing one example. My son was standing too close to a girl and talking to her. And immediately it just said, how many times have I told you to maintain a distance? What is this? And then I said, well, if he didn't understand, he didn't understand. So the next time I had to walk forward and say, this is the distance with which we talk. So I also put a video on YouTube for how I created a demo with another girl student and said, this is the distance which we stand up and talk. But for me to be able to think in a sane head, that, okay, I need to explain it to him. The basic requirement was acceptance that, yeah, he doesn't know, that's okay, but he can be taught. So acceptance at a core level in the family, first of all with the mother, then in the family, and then it impacts the society. Because I've had people come up to me and say, "Aapki bete ke dimag mein thoda kuch hai na?" Translated, your son's brain has some issue, right? So with all the confidence on my face, I walk to them, and like if someone's spoken like this to me, and it's happened a lot of times, and I say, no, he is probably more intelligent than a couple more children standing here. He's got autism, and autism manifests itself a little differently. So he speaks a little differently, and you know what? It is okay. And then the person seeing my confidence has, okay. And then I'm like, if you wish to know more, here is the YouTube channel. Please go through. Obviously, if they are not people who are impacted directly, they wouldn't have much of an interest. Or of course, if they're curious enough. But then we need to be doing our job of standing by our kid. First complaint that comes from the park and we go and bash the kid, at least listen to the child. If the child is not able to explain, find out. Firstly, people with kids with autism will not send their child alone to the park. So they'll be hanging around. So for children who are very, like if parent is worked or if parent has, like I keep doing a lot of these experiments. So there have been times where I've not gone with him, but I've hid behind a tree to see the dynamic, what's happening. Otherwise, how do I know and what do I correct? There have been times he's been on the local train and I'm one compartment behind and he doesn't know my mom is talking me. And to see how is he behaving? Has he left his phone on the seat or what has he done? So unless I understand the dynamics from that perspective and empower myself with the awareness of what is it that my kid doesn't know, I can't go ahead and help. There's another, a student of mine, and we had, so there's some more videos that I put of when we took them for a water park ride. And, we were behind and the new parents were there, but they were managing everything on their own. Okay, so, and I keep putting all of this on YouTube so that to give ideas. His first auto ride, then some of my students, their first bus ride. So we're behind, like, filming it, not leaving them alone, but then we'll have to give them that platform to experiment. Then people come back to me and say, I'm so scared, my kid is crossing the road and I can't let that happen. So I'll always hold his hand. I'll grab like this. How will the kid know? How will the kid know? So then you have to task analyze, break it, have mother here and father here, both in running, so the kid in between if the kid is a runner. Choose a time when there is not too much traffic. You say, walk, walk. The minute the kid tries to run, grab and say, no, we walk. Let's walk, let's walk. And sooner than later, you will realize that their kid, their brain works, their brain will learn. If there is only one thing that anybody watching me today talking can take from me or from this platform here, from me, from what I'm saying, please take this information and this belief that your kid can learn. Autism or any other developmental condition doesn't mean the kid cannot learn. It's a different way of learning. It might take a lot more time than what you think. In another case, a neurotypical will just get it like this. But with repeated practice, with consistency, with the magic of consistency, your kid will learn. So mothers in their own right need to understand, like Seema was talking about IEP. So need to understand how to create their own IEP around language, around social skill building, around academic concepts. And academic concepts cannot simply be, okay, 5 plus 2 is 7. It has got to be, bhaiya, 2 packet biscuit or 5 packet chips de do. If it's not interwoven with ADLs, then the kid is not having the confidence and language is getting impacted. ADL is getting impacted, taking the lift, going down, talking to the person. Someone's asking about potty training. There is an elaborate 15-minute video on potty training. Please go to my YouTube channel and type potty training Rajni Singh. And no, not potty training me, like as in potty training Rajni Singh. And it'll give you, I've put entire strategy of how do you make a chart, how do you do the timing. So you'll get it right there. Okay, so coming back to the point that if your academic stuff is not interwoven into the ADL and the real life scenario, then we are not going very far with anything, because everything is interconnected. If they have confidence with language, they will talk, and they will try to be social. If you are on your toes and trying to find out, a support group of friends, of, children, like-minded children, there they can talk. Even during COVID times, I've seen that on the Zoom, kids are getting together and they are, so my poor thing, my son has done 2 birthdays only on Zoom because the timing was such that both the timings, it was locked down. So, but then he's called his friends and everything. Some guidelines. I'll take up the question. I'm just kind of winding up and then I'll take up the questions. So basically the challenges faced, like I said, are from the immediate family. The challenges faced to the kid are also from a parent where the exact acceptance is not there. Either the parent is hyper or hypo. Okay, so the parent says my kid will do everything, or the parent will say my kid can't do anything. Okay, so the balance is not there. That's also a challenge, and that can be sorted with proper awareness and empowerment of the parent. Then the challenges are through the system. Again, there is corporate social responsibility. A lot of organizations are doing stuff. A lot of hotels that I've stayed in, when I've gone for my training programs, I've seen special people appointed, adults, maybe in the back end or something. So people are getting aware, but considering the size of India, it's very, very less. It's very, very less. If a parent gets to know that a child has special needs, especially in the remote areas, it is very sad. After that, they are comfortable ki iski seva karna hai, we have to feed him, we'll have another kid, First, we will carry him like a load, and then when we are gone, our next child will carry, his brother or sister, and that's about it. But that's not how it is. That's not what specifically autism is, and in general, for any kind of challenge, neurological condition, brain can learn. Okay, we can make the child independent. There are ways, we have to work around the ways so that the child learns. That's very important. We have to be on it, stay on it, meditate a lot, be crazy, silly, dance with the kid. Because if you're too weighed down, then you can't, if a bird's bones are hollow. That's why it can fly. Yeah, it's free. Okay, no weight. When we have the weight of everything on our shoulders, hi Bhagwan ne kyun kar diya? Oh God, why you did that to me? You can't fly. And you have to be very free with the kid, enjoy their childhood. At the end of the day, their children. And well, that's it. Those are the challenges. But amongst the challenges, the biggest opportunity is that if a family decides to empower itself, it not only creates a bright future for their child, it serves as an example for so many others to get inspired. And that is how, one step at a time, we will bring about a change in the society.
Well, it was a very nice talk, ma'am. In fact, the moment you started, I was just trying to jot down the pointers. But then at a moment, I was not matching the speed that you are giving the inputs. And there were so many, that we need to really have to listen to your video recording and then note down this and follow it in daily lives.
So I'm sorry about that. You could have stopped me like this. I'm a classic case of ADHD myself. When I start, like Seema said, rocket. So then I have to be told, hello, stop, breathe.
Breathe, yes. No, in fact, there have been so much of takeaways, by your talk. Like as in, the empowerment of the parent, as in it starts with the mother, goes to the family, and then probably it goes to the society. Basically, when we don't have any acceptance within ourselves, and when we are not able to advocate for our own children, how will the society understand our kids? That's the foremost thing, that till we don't speak, others wouldn't be able to listen. And secondly, I can very well resonate, with whatever you were speaking, having two kids on the spectrum, that there are many fingers pointing out, when we take our kids outside and when they try to behave in so-called socially unacceptable behavior. But then what we have learned, by connecting with professionals like you, as to how we need to be outspoken. For example, there are a lot of good things, that our kids do, and probably they do much better than the so-called anti-kids. And when we try to highlight this in society, then it's only then that they try to understand and they try to listen to you. And this is what, learning from professions like you, we have also tried to create certain content on YouTube to share with like-minded families. Yeah.
Very nice.
There was a time, wherein parents were finding very too much a shortage of resources, okay, as well as a lot of sharing from a parent's point of view. Because when it comes from parent to a parent, that's where the real connection comes out. For example, earlier we were even scared to enter the elevators, thinking about inappropriate behaviors. But then when kids achieve something and we speak it out, okay, that, creates a sort of respect for yourself,
Yes.
for your children, and then people are willing to listen. Secondly, every parent on the spectrum has they do go through a denial phase, okay, and that's okay, because not every one of us is aware, like, no, being the spectrum is so huge, and everyone comes up with the same thing, like what you mentioned, like, no, say the queries of what after us. But the more vital thing what we tend to miss out is what can we do now to empower our
Absolutely.
kids, to make them independent, okay, as well as what, as per what you mentioned, there is very less of correlation between academics and ADL. Every parent, I think sometimes parents also, we try to look at our own unfulfilled dreams in our kids,
True that.
and they put so much of pressure in terms of academics on the children, that not understanding, like, that every child is different, the understanding of the level of the child is different, and look at your ability of your own child, nurture that, and surely you will see wonders happening. And by professions like you, doing so much, like, coming up with, I know, having a child on the spectrum, okay, dealing with your own issues at your level, sharing so much within the community, as well as sharing so much of things with YouTube. I know that, like, it's not easy. It's not easy, like, managing times and devoting and contributing to society is not that easy. And thank you very very much. That parents will. I'll request all parents, like, to follow Miss Rajni's YouTube channel. Okay, there it's, even if we get one tip out of one video and we follow that, that is enormous benefit it can bring it to us as parents as well as for our children.
Yes.
And plus what you do in practical, as you said, like, that you take
Yes.
kids on field trips, going in the say buses or say auto rickshaws. You can really make them live their life, as well as having the proper safety protocols that you take from behind.
Yes. Calculated risk taking is a must. Like, I mean, it's hilarious. The first time my son learned cycling, I was a laughing stock because I was on the scooter by his side towards the moving road, and he was there, and I was just shouting, "Aage dekh, truck, stop, go!" But I didn't care. I just went on until I was confident that okay, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and then I let him go forward, and it was very scary that I'm my scooter speed is slow, and I'm seeing a truck come by, and he's managing and like this. But then I'm like, okay, don't worry, he can do it, and I'm doing my mantra jap and allowing until a couple of weeks down the line, I see my son can go from point A to point B all by himself on his cycle without his mother. But if I was so scared and I didn't give him the exposure, it would not have happened. And in any case, I couldn't have just simply given him the cycle and said, go to the road and get run down by a truck. It's a risky thing. But then even that can be handled on the highway, everything. We will have to be in the driver's seat. So if he had to take the local bus to school, we stay in Kulwe, and my son used to go to school in Vashi, and there is no school bus service from there. So pre-corona times, 5:55 a.m. he used to take the bus. So I first traveled that bus to see how many stops, where he has to get down, got comfortable with the driver, and then one day followed him while he was the first day. And when I was satisfied that yeah, he can handle, before that, I taught him how to use the phone. So 20 times I'm asking, all okay, all okay. So I am that paranoid mother. But my point is, you're allowed to be paranoid, but you're not allowed to allow that paranoia to get in the way of your child's growth. So take care of your nonsense and give the exposure to the kids, because exposure is what is going to take them forward. No exposure, no growth.
Exactly. So what you are saying, that every parent need to take their own calculated risks. They can get motivation from watching videos or looking at other children, but then also need to understand, there are two adverse sides. One will be the extreme possibility, and one could be a possibility that is way below. So we need to understand, where do we stand with our children based on our own capacity, and then move on.
Yes.
Now,
To every kid, it will be different.
One of the parents was asking that a child is non-verbal, okay? So although all interventions are going on, then communication becomes an issue, because what happens, we as gullible parents, we always look at when will our child talk. And secondly, what happens is due to ignorance, and say societal people around us, or say seniors around us, they keep on prolonging things, saying that wo ho jayega, wo theek ho jayega, and they lose on things, they lose on the time. So what would you mention to such kind of a parent?
Yeah. So basically, see, alternative and augmentative methods of communication, AAC, like the PECS, the picture exchange communication system. Again, how old did you say the child is? How old is this child?
The age wasn't mentioned. For example,
Not
say
mentioned.
around 10 years.
Okay,
Because
so
my
assuming
child is 11 years. He's non-verbal. Okay. So that point of view, I could
okay,
check.
so for a 11-year-old, I think waiting that speech will come up by God's grace. It may come up. You continue your meditation, you continue your prayers, all of that kept aside. But on a practical note, you have to ensure that communication happens. If speech is not there, at least communication happens. Now, there are various ways of doing it. You could do a picture board communication. Okay, so the kid could pick up. So there are proper ways of training the parents on PECs. So the kid, whatever the kid wants, will pick it up, the picture, and give to the parent and get what they want in return. So we'll have to create a small booklet, so that initially it is just objects. Then it is, the entire action word, I want to play, and there are symbols with it. So that could be done. Another thing, if the kid is reading, writing kid, if it's an older kid, and the parents have taught them, then teaching them by, okay, not just to read and write, but pick pen, put in bag. So doing things like this is a read and do. So then read, pick pen. So the kid, if we teach them, do this, so that the language can be developed using another alternate means. I've done that with a lot of children where they're totally non-verbal, but they're using their mobile, and they are sending a message. So the mobile replaces this part. If they can read and write, then that's a great way to develop communication rather than waiting. If the kid doesn't have the ability to read and write, in that case, PECS is one, Awaz app is one, but you'll have to give some support to the kids. Simply saying beta bolo, and the kid doesn't talk, it will not do justice to the child.
Thank you, ma'am. And last bit, see, we as parents, having kids on the spectrum, tend to burn ourselves a lot. What would you advise in terms of them taking care of their own health also?
It's a very, very important question. And it's my favorite, because I've seen both sides. There have been a time where I burnt myself to the extent of extreme exhaustion and depression, of wanting to end my life, and actually turning it around from there. So I've seen those cases, and I can fully understand and empathize with parents. Nobody's going to get out of this planet Earth alive. We are all going to get knocked down. That's a given, right? And with Corona, we really don't know when. Absolutely. This moment is powerful for me. If I only think Oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. And I keep awake till 2 a.m. and I keep awake till 4 a.m. and preparing TLM. Then I'm not doing justice to myself. Even the aeroplane, announcement is first, put yourself oxygen in case of emergency, then give it to the kid. They don't say first give the kid and you die. Doesn't work like that. So you have to understand that as a parent with an 18-year-old who was all set to appear for his board exams and has been appearing for debates and everything, and so much of hard work going in. Even as a parent of a kid, where we have come such a long way, I am not convinced to this day, have I done enough? And I figure that out, that it is a feeling which will stay with all parents. No matter what we do, have I done enough? Your job is to identify that feeling and say, oh, it's again troubling me, stop. I am doing good enough and there's going to be tomorrow morning and the remaining I will do then. So balance is the key. You have to not procrastinate. That comes from lack of self-acceptance, lack of acceptance of the child. Kal kar lunga, parso kar lunga. Why? Because I don't trust that I can do it. Arre, kar lenge, kar lenge. No, you can't do that, but at the same time, don't burn yourself. Okay, so try to create a system where you don't feel guilty if you are pulling out 2 hours and going to a parlor. Ladies, gents, anybody. Because if I am not replenished, then how will I fill from an empty jug?
True.
So, and it requires conscious effort, because even to this day, my kids will snatch, siege my phone, my laptop, hide it and say, watch movie. But then I'm like, okay. And I tell myself, okay, behave, watch movie, breathe. We can do the remaining tomorrow. So it's constant work. But you will have to treat yourself also with the same love and care.
Well, very insightful, ma'am, and really very nice connecting with you. And viewers will definitely have a lot of takeaway and a lot of inspiration, by your journey. And with this, I'd like to thank you. And Dr. Somil, over to you.